Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be making these little candle holders made from plywood. They're quite nice actually. The idea is that we've got to start making some money. This place isn't free. Wood's not free. So I'm going to get some scrap and make some little projects. That's the plan. First thing we need to do is make a jig to make these little squares. So we made our jigs. Now we're going to make some candle holders. Should be nice and easy. Let's see. So I've not showed you how I made this jig for reasons that will soon become clear, but the idea behind it was to make repeatable cuts. Nice and simple. Just cut the same thing again and again, just to make it easy. And I really had to speed this up because it took so long doing it by hand. It amazes me how people can do this without power tools. That's something I've really been learning. And here's why we didn't go into detail about this jig. Oh dear. I've broken it. I think this needs a rethink. Bear with me. Okay. That didn't work. So new plan, and it should make it easier and quicker. So we're gonna make a jig for the track saw, which should like cut the sawing time down massively. And I think this will work. We're gonna start here. This is gonna be our reference for the table saw. I've got a 90-degree angle adapter for it, so this will reference from that, which references from this, like that. Then this is where the cutting will happen. We'll line the table saw up here, and then this is just for stabilization. That's the plan. So here goes. I've put the glue away. So here I'm using a combination of like scrap wood that I had lying around and some CA glue, so 2-part glue. You squeeze the glue onto the bit you want to stick down and then spray the activator on the other side, and it bonds instantly, which is much better than normal super glue because you don't get awful sticky mess all over your hands. This second attempt at the jig should make life lots easier. It basically reduces the cutting time by like 99% and a lot less effort on my part, which is always good. And it should be more accurate because the track saw cuts straight, whereas I have been known not to. You're nice. I think we're onto a winner. Do you know what would be really good at this? A miter saw, but I don't have a battery powered one. The joys of having no electricity. It might not sound like it here, but I actually really enjoy the fact that there's no electricity in this shop because it makes me think about things like this and like finding solutions to problems and coming up with weird looking jigs like this that make it work. It works! I'm going to make a quick improvement. It'll take me ages to get them out, so I'm just going to bevel these edges. Yes, much easier. So here are our blocks. For each candle holder, we need 3. They're going to stack together like this. And then we're just going to drill a hole in the top, finish up the edges nicely, and then they're little candle holders. While I'm doing that, I thought I'd tell you a bit about why I'm doing this. So I want to turn this into a business. Like, I currently have a full-time job, but I want this to be my full-time job. And I know that's a long way off. I'm only just starting out. But this is my first product that I'm making to sell. So I'm trying to make a big batch of these candle holders. We're going to work out how long it's taken to make them, keep a track of the hours that I'm working on it, and then work out all the materials and try and come up with a decent price for them and hopefully sell them. So if you're interested, get in touch. Obviously, you haven't seen what they look like yet. But, you know, it's handmade. It should be great. One thing I have learned from during this build is to wipe off all the glue. You'll see me wipe it off the table in a second, but I really should have wiped it off all of the candle holders. I've let the glue dry, so now it's time to get them out of clamps and have a look, see what we got. So time check, we're about 4 hours in, minus glue drying time obviously, we won't count that. That's 4 hours to make all the jigs, cut the squares and get them glued up. So here they are, little candle holders. Some of the edges are a little bit not quite flush. So I've got some 60 grit sandpaper and my sander. And I'm gonna try and flatten the edges. This may take a while. Okay, so sanding is out. It's just taking too long and it's not getting them quite square. So what I'm going to do is using flush trim bits, we're just going to make them the same as each other. They don't have to be like perfect, but at least they'll be consistent and more handmade. That's the idea. So we're going to have a go with that. Wish me luck. So I love my router, like I think it's the most versatile tool I have, but I am quite scared of it, and doing this to me felt a bit dodgy. I persevered for as long as I felt it was safe, but there were some bits that I just didn't enjoy at all. No one quite likes having a spinning blade too close to their fingers. Oh, my knees. So a solution to that was I built a router table. Very simple build, and maybe I'll do a video on it in the future, but it just means I can keep my fingers away from the blade, which, you know, just makes you feel a bit more comfortable. Let's see how it works. This is a flush trim bit I'm using here. So I previously used a templating bit on the top to match the top two levels up. And then we go back and take the rest off with the flush trim bit. This is an example of why I find the writing scary. If you don't quite have it lined up right or follow the right things, you can get what's called kickback. Thanks to the router, these are all flush to each other now. So now it's time to do the actual sanding. I'm going to start at 80 grit, 120, 180, and maybe we'll do 240 if we're feeling spicy. Let's go. Some of the squares were so unaligned that we had to lose them basically. It felt a bit risky on the router doing them, so we got rid, and we're down to 8 in the batch now. I won't make you watch all the sanding, I promise. One thing, however, that I did forget when I was sanding was to drill the holes in the top, so we can do that now. And I love watching this, it's so satisfying. I'm using a Forstner bit that's the exact same size as a tea light, which is very handy. And this is one of my favourite things, watching that shave off all the wood. Now I've got all the holes in the top for the tea lights. It's back to sanding. We're just working our way through the grits. 80, 120, 180, 240. Just make them feel lovely and smooth in the hand. So getting everything out of clamps, flush trimming, and then onto sanding and drilling. It's taken us another 2 hours. And then we're back on the final sand. Puts us at 8 hours total. Now it's time to go back to the router table to put some edge profiling on them. This just elevates them a bit and makes them feel more professional and classy, if you will. This is my favourite part, putting the finish on. You can really see what the final piece will look like, and it really comes to life. This is just some plywood scraps I had knocking around, birch plywood, so it's quite nice. But to turn it from basically something that was useless into a little candle holder makes me really happy. To make this batch of 8, it's taken us 12 hours. And we want to charge a reasonable price. I always struggle with pricing my work because I think it's self-doubt, isn't it? Like you don't know, you don't think it's worth anything. You just see what's wrong with it. And I'm really trying hard to do that, so I'm going to cost these up at £15, which, as the materials were free, we've used a bit of sandpaper and some finish, so we'll bear that into account. If I can sell these for £15 each, that's 120 quid for the 8 that we've made, which makes my time worth £10 now, which isn't very much really, but I think for a beginner, I think that's okay. I'm happy with that. And we'll see. I don't think anyone would pay more than £15 for these. What do you think? You tell me. Do you want to pay more? Do you want to buy one? Get in touch. Let me know.